So, being well, I think, is important. It has obviously many different meanings. I don't need to explain at length that being mentally well is utmost important. I'm sure you all know that. If you are not mentally well, I don't mean, not being crazy as in, nuts and lunatic and all that. I mean, that could be included too, why not? But, just being well, drinking a cup of tea and really drinking that, really being able to drink that cup of tea, not getting caught up with all kinds of other things. That's a wealth. The Tibetan word yogi, when we translate yogi or yoga, yogi, Tibetan word is na jor. That's quite a beautiful translation, I've always thought. Jor means wealth, prosperity. Nal means normal, genuine, as it is, present, unaltered, unfabricated, fresh, uninhibited, and therefore elegant, and also, while being elegant, never losing the outrageousness aspect. So that wealth of being in the present, being in the fresh moment, that's a key to the wellness. And more than ever, I think we should really pay some attention to that wellness. Because that's the key. And actually, it's not so difficult. Actually, it's easier than to be well physically. Physically well is a little difficult. You have to sniff this air, Who knows what somebody is doing next to you, we never know. You cannot really control. You have to wear things, you have to travel. You can't travel completely padded in a sort of secure situation all the time, because then you lose all your fun. So actually mentally well, mentally being able to well is easier. You just have to get used to this. You just have to have a little bit of persistence or consistency. You have to sort of develop that joy to have that kind of wellness. World, I think, do not contemplate enough, and especially contemplate this moment, contemplate on this moment. We contemplate too much on the future. Even when we talk about like a visionary, you hear always this talk about leadership, management, visionary. But usually the visionary is always someone who's always thinking about the future, isn't it? In reference to the past, which is fine. But along with that, I think you become much more visionary if you can really collect this wealth of the wellness by being in this moment. As I said, when you are drinking a cup of tea, just drink that. When you're brushing teeth, just do that. You know, the Buddhist teaching, since I'm a Buddhist, as by now you must have guessed, I can't help but to talk about Buddhism because this is all I know anyway. The Buddhist teachings can be, summarized into three sort of statements. Try not to do harmful things to yourself and to others. That's one. That's already good. Now, on top of that, if you want to do more, then try to do good things to yourself and others. That's the second. But good and bad is very relative. Because, what is good for you is not necessarily good for others. We never know. If you meet a Martian, probably you'll have to beat him up as a greeting. That if you don't, they may be annoyed. We don't know good and bad. So, fundamentally, the last statement of the Buddha is, know your mind and tame it. Because it all ends up, it dwindles, or what do you call it, essentialized into knowing your mind. Books, teachers, symbols, chants, prayers, environment, all can help. But main tools and technique to know your mind is just using what mind does the best. What is it? Knowing. That's what the mind do. Mind knows. We spend so much time knowing other things, subjects, knowing environment, politics, economy. Why not look at mind? Why not know mind? And as I say, know mind, you may think there must be something so exotic, divine, supernatural, colorful. No, not at all. You have to have a mind, don't you? Like, you are not a piece of stone. You have to have a mind. Your mind must be at the moment thinking of something or not thinking of something or being conscious of something or whatever. Just simply know that for a few moments. That is an equivalent to the whole study in academic years. It's as easy as that. Nothing exotic, nothing religious, nothing, dogmatic, nothing moral or ethical. Just knowing whatever it is. If you are thinking something so hideous, just know that. Most of the time when we think about hideous and something so bad, we don't know that that's what you're thinking. That's why you get entangled and then you end up putting yourself into get into trouble. If you put enough attention, and I'm not saying that when you think about something hideous, you should really try to stop it. I'm not saying that. Just knowing. Just simply knowing when you are thinking something bad, that's what you are doing. Wow. That alone will change the shape and the color. You may still breathe hard, you may still be, shaking your hands, you may still be shouting, you may still be yelling, you may still be, but the definition, the function of so-called hideous mind will change. I can't think of a really wholesome example. I have something very crude. I'm sorry to say this, but I have to say this. This is the only example I could think of at the moment. Let's say you are peeing, okay? Suddenly, let's say you are peeing and suddenly somebody look at you from the front. What do? Your natural instinct, you stop, or I don't know, you may still pee, but there is a certain different definition now, there's a different, altogether different approach to your peeing now. For instance, like, while you are peeing, if your cat walks in, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because it's a cat, it doesn't really know what is peeing and all that paraphernalia. But if you are, I don't know, a master walks in, then you are in trouble. then you will forget, if you are a man, maybe to, zip, and all that. So you see, this is how knowing does. The moment you know what you are thinking, it's like, when you are not thinking when you are not knowing but still thinking, that's like peeing. But the moment there is a knowing, I didn't say you should stop peeing, I didn't say, but the feeling, the way you function, the way you manifest will be different. And that is the key to the wellness. Healthy mind, well mind, is confidence. That's compassion, that's kindness, that's forgiveness, that's broad mind, that's visionary. And I think that endeavor of knowing and taming the mind, the third statement of the Buddha, something that we should pay some attention. And other than that, I have nothing much to say. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer. Maybe you should use the mic in this situation. Yes. Yes, it's working.
Talking about the mind, in Buddhism it is said that the mind is beginningless and endless. I really find very difficult when this topic is really being discussed, because in some places it mentions that we can't take the mind back, so the expression which is really used is beginningless.
Yes.
So logically it doesn't seem to be very convincing. I mean, it's just making a kind of statement that...
No, remember we talked about that in Biri, I think. I was kind of joking, but not really joking, that it's unfortunate that the fact that the finding of time being relative truth, that modern people have tributed that to Einstein. You Indians should really protest this. Long before Einstein, Shakyamuni Buddha taught that time is relative, it doesn't exist. So the follower of the Buddha, for them, beginning, end, Genesis, Armageddon, and there's many. Okay, for instance, like all. Do you know the concept all? What does that mean? It really doesn't have much meaning actually. It could be 10, it could be 2, it could be 100,000. All, infinite, very, stuff like that, beginning, end. If you want a very practical answer, beginning is now, and end is now, together. Yeah, so this is what in Buddhist doctrine, the concept of the evolution, sort of Genesis, long, long ago, so and so this is how it began, not that important. But if you insist, relatively, they will say things like, even things like Shakyamuni came 2,500 years ago. And that actually is so pertinent habit of Indians, I'm telling you. Indians are really not so good with jotting down the manufacturing date. So it's all this like Mahabharata, all this a long, long ago. They were not like Chinese and Egyptians who writes everything down and carve. Because the Indians, they will say, this is how the Indians, like Nagarjuna, thinks. Egyptians, they carve, we don't carve. But really, you can't really trust one more than the other. Because whoever is carving, who knows what state of mind he or she has. Probably drinking too much grape juice, So he could be carving something really wrong, and then you are stuck with that. At least this kind of, like long, long ago, you can't really go wrong. It's long, long ago. That's how it used to be, Until recently, I grew up, not so much anymore. I grew up learning everything by heart. Our masters, they scold us for leaving it on. We are not allowed to make notes. So if you make notes, this is like a manifestation of laziness. So you are making note, and then you are already saying that I'm going to do it later. You have to know everything by now. So, like the tradition of master speaking and the student listening and putting it in the mind, that I have to say also backfired a bit. Nowadays, you can't really, there is no clarity. Even the Buddha's birth date. Sharavaka people say something, Theravadins say something, Mahayana people say something. And then if you hear the Tantric people, oh my goodness, they say completely different things. So, but that never was an issue until Buddhism became a subject of study in places like Oxford. Then these Oxford people, they always want a date. They want a proof. I always have argument with these academics. They always, the scientists, they always say they need proof. But what the Buddhist argument is, when proof means you are talking about a knower of a proof. Meaning it's subjective. So it really doesn't work. This is one example I always say, you give 2 pieces of stick to a Chinese, they will use it as a chopstick. Because that's the habit. You give it to some remote Bhutanese village, they will use it as a kindle to make fire. Never even think as a chopstick. And I'm sure English, maybe in the 1940s, they would be offended if during the lunch they have a true stick instead of all those weapon-like cutleries, spoons and stuff like that. But that's how it is.
Rinpoche, we've been speaking about the wellness of the mind.
Yes.
I'm curious about the unwell mind.
Mm-hmm.
The mind which you have mentioned in the morning today as being a little crazy or sometimes being a little lunatic. I'm curious about the take on that.
Okay. Very important question, I have to say, because in the process of talking about wellness, I think we forgot to talk about the unwell mind. If you ask, well, I can only give you a Buddhist answer here again. The Buddhist answer for unwell mind is mind that is distant from the truth. So let's say you are going to a shopping mall and you buy things as if you are going to live another 1,000 years. That's a little bit of unwell mind. Let's say you are making, which I do, make schedules. Okay, 2019, let's meet in St. Petersburg. So and so date. Little bit of unwell mind. Now, the Buddhist answer is this. Should you do it? Yes. You should make a date, like schedules until 2050. But always keep in mind, these things may not happen. Maybe tonight may not happen. I may never go to my room. This is it. It may be the last time I see trees. So look, this is it. You better look at the trees now. That is getting closer to the truth. So the Buddhist concept of unwell mind is how close are you to the truth or how far you are.
Who decides that?
Well, again, primarily you have to use your own hearing and contemplation and analysis. But as a tool to help you that, then there's a dharma, the teachings, to provoke you. The teachings are all there really to provoke, to really argue and deconstruct your decisions. That's what the study of Madhyamika and all that. I mean, that's an important question. Who decides what's the truth? So there are two ways. One is through what we call hearing and contemplation. That's one way to decide what is the truth. The more important is the samadhi, meditation. So these three, hearing, contemplation and meditation, is like the tool in Buddhism. And sometimes among themselves, there is a challenge though. The hearing people and the contemplators, they get so entangled by them within that, never really manage to go to the samadhi. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes some people go immediately to samadhi and then they don't do too much hearing and contemplation, which is also a little bit of dangerous because suddenly, years after years of meditation, and suddenly things are still not good or whatever, you understand, something wrong, something so small, like a long-lasting pimple somewhere in your bottom or something, could think, okay, then your meditation is not working. That's where you need contemplation and hearing. You see, these three you need. Yes. There's a gentleman there.
Rinpoche, this was a question from yesterday's group. So the question was, if there is no soul, an ever eternal soul, then what stays and what goes through the bardo state, what transmigrates?
Okay. Yeah, the soul is a new term for Buddhist. So, okay, this is very technical, okay. Buddhists believe in an imaginary continuity. Again, you have to pay some attention to the words like imaginary. Between you, forget about the next life and after death. Even between yesterday and today. Are you the same one? Same? Or are you different? You can't really say same. You can't really say different. If you say different, let's say you did you committed a crime yesterday. Today, this different being is going to the prison. That's unfair. You understand? And if you are same, if you say you're same, you don't change. So, no need to eat, for instance, because you never go hungry, right? So, even that, but then there is an imaginary continuum. And that's all there is. That's what the Buddhists would say. So, just like yesterday and today and tomorrow, past life, this life, next life, is as imaginary. But when I say the word imaginary, I'm sure most of you think, oh, so it's not a big deal. No, it's a very big deal. Nightmare is a very big deal, Okay, this is an important question, so I want to elaborate this a little bit. You must have heard the words like nirvana, samsara. This is how it is. You are sleeping here right now, in your bed, comfortably, cushion, everything. Nothing is happening, you're just sleeping. Then you're having a nightmare, a spider biting you. Yeah? Before you sleep, there's no spider waiting outside. Yeah? During your nightmare, there is no spider biting you. After you wake up, it's not as if the spiders went out from the window. You got it? But during the nightmare, you go through all the panic. You go through all the anxiety and you cry and you whatever. This is samsara. Nirvana is name given to a relief. Let's say your friend, knowing that something is wrong, who's awake, okay, you are like moving and whatever, you are shouting, and then this is your friend, throw a bucket of water on you. The guru, okay, your guru. You wake up. Then there's a sense of relief from that nightmare. That's nirvana. Okay? Now, most important thing you need to know is both are fake. Spider is fake, remember? If the spider is a fake, how can absence of the spider can be real? So nirvana is also fake. So what is really what we are really trying to achieve? What is the real nirvana? Let's call it real nirvana. The bed, the cushion. You understand? That's what you need to actualize. So samsara and the nirvana is really a game. It's a game that you played. You have started to play this now. Now you have to finish it if you want. If you are, if you are bothered by spider, that is. And I would say you are. That's the sort of the samsara nirvana concept of Buddhism. It's all knowing the truth. Yeah, in the middle of the dream spider, if you know that's just a dream, you will not panic. That state is called a yogi state. You are still being, there is still a spider, but you know it's not real. But you still haven't woken up yet. Which is, it just means that you are still under the condition. We want you to wake up completely. Parinirvana, they call it. So no spider in the beginning, no spiders in the middle, no absence of spider later, therefore no relief of the spider. This is what you need to know. Is it? Yes.
This was a question from the earlier group. We've spoken quite a lot about sort of the adult concept, but what can we do in a more practical sense to prepare our children for this path, and also guard their sort of naked mind that they're brought into this world with? So we
the second part I didn't hear.
So when children come into this world, we feel, I think we all recognize that they're largely untainted, and then with time they become tainted, for want of a better word. So what can we as parents or professionals working with children do to actually prepare them or guard them?
Okay. I'm not so good at this. I've been contemplating on this a bit. I think we teachers, educators, parents, I think we just need to have that acceptance that we are brainwashing them. You understand what I mean? I think that's the fundamental. Say, okay, I'm giving them, I'm brainwashing them. And I think if you have that, then I guess you go buy the book. There's so many experts' books on about how to talk and how to, educate. Love and compassion and kindness and stuff like that will be good. But basically, fundamentally, you are influencing them. I'm telling this because this is a little bit like as a teacher, Buddhist teacher, one of the teachers' training, sort of, which is all fading now, is we have been told that no matter how you teach to audience like this, you always have to tell yourself that you are imposing your projection. You always have to tell this to yourself. And sort of, they don't really need this, but they may have told you they need this, and you are now all become pompous and thinking, oh yes, they need this, and now I'm giving them this. All that awareness you need. And I think if you have that, I think both parents and the children are safe, so to speak. But it's a very difficult, I think. It's like, even making a tomato soup is difficult. At least it has a standard recipe and some sort of a procedure, but children, my goodness, they're all different. So many children are too tighted these days with safety stuff. I don't know. Maybe they need to get a little bit bruised and, bitten by, I don't know, insects and stuff like that. It's good for them, to become human. They have to face the world. I feel children, especially girls, for instance, young girls with so much stress, such as There's too many choice of lipsticks. That's what they're going to face as they grow up. And now, and then the world not so, understanding with gender issues. So much problems. But I think individually we can also create a lot of good things. A lot of good things.
Excuse my ignorance in asking this, but you talked about nirvana right now as a relief from the fake spider. From what I understand is nirvana the ultimate relief, or is nirvana something you can experience in your day-to-day life as well? And
I give you two nirvana. One is a fake nirvana that which we usually talk about,
yes,
that we want. Then I give you the real nirvana, which is the dead, which most of the people don't even think about it.
correct. So nirvana is something one can experience in one's day-to-day life as well, and not just as the ultimate sense of relief. Is that what it would be, or the ultimate goal? And second question, which came from a group discussion yesterday, was nirvana versus moksha. Is it the same, or?
Yeah. It really depends. For instance, like Zen Buddhism, they talk about satori. It's a moment of satori. Like this morning we talked about how, remember, after a while, 3 minutes of meditation, you will end up not care so much whether your underwear is pressed or not. And I said, that's kind of, little bit of satori there. So in that sense, yes, day-to-day life. But strictly speaking, if you as an academic, that's what nirvana means. I have to be, that's more, more technical, more correct. But if you want to be more metaphorical, as I said, it's an end to the obsession, end of obsession. It's a release, it's a liberation.
As long as you live, every action will have a cause, everything will have an effect, so how do you really end everything? Because every action will be a cause.
Oh, very good. That's why we have been talking about being in the present. The moment you are in the present, even though at that moment you are not being able to cut it, this is already confusing the order and the speed of the chain of thoughts. This powerful train coming, train of habit, and you are already damaging the speed and the rhythm and the, being in the present. It's already confusing it. Remember we were talking about don't poke, don't, just leave it alone. The Tibetan word is ya. Don't, just leave it alone. Because the moment you leave it alone, you are not charging the battery. Not leaving it, just leave it alone. Includes a lot of things, by the way. It could be both good and bad. Of course, leave alone bad things, but also the good things. Just simply leave it alone. Just 3 minutes as a practitioner. And then after a few years you do maybe more and more and more and more. So collectively, okay, this is a hypothetical, okay? Collectively, if you can manage to be in the present or leave it alone, let's say collectively 6 hours a day, 6 hours out of 24 hours, the Mahayana Buddhists I will consider you as you are about to go to the first Bhumi Bodhisattva. And then so on and so forth. When you can remain in that present moment, 24 hours continuously, you are about to enter to you are about to finish the 10th Bhumi Bodhisattva stage and say goodbye to the path. Yeah. But I have to remind you, all the other practices such as chanting, prayers, never reject, never. It's all there. Because those things doesn't harm you. They can only help you. If not help, they don't help you. Anyway, if you don't chant, you'll be doing something else anyway. Chant. And those things does have some sort of, they are skillfully designed to alienate you from a certain distractions. Such as if you're chanting, at least you are alienated from talking about something else. Because your mouth is busy. And if you're sitting straight, that's already retreating you from doing something else. The whole purpose of the technique is to either retreat you, alienate from distractions, or being in the present. Even a flower arrangement. Remember? Like a Zen tea ceremony, tea making. I think somebody should come up with several of these. The Indians don't need to learn the Japanese tea ceremony, tea. And there's many other practices. There's something called, what the name?
When you're cooking a halwa, you're in present.
Yes.
You continue stirring it for 25-50 minutes without getting distracted anywhere.
Yes, like that. Orioki. Probably, if we hear this, we might want to do this. Orioki is, you chew like 100 times or 50 times or something like that, and then all that, like sitting and looking at the food. But you don't have to do that. You can do halwa making, samadhi, chapati, washing, wearing dhoti, walking meditation, cooking meditation, brushing teeth meditation. And also it will help to create a little bit of a ritual. The ritual is necessary. Ritual. Human beings need ritual. It accentuates. So for instance, let's say you are doing the chapati making samadhi. I don't know how you hold the chapatis. How you place it on your hand. And then look. I don't know. Things like that. How you open your laptop. How you enter your passwords. Stuff like that. And by the way, this is the problem I should tell you. Let's say, I suddenly invent. Where's my computer? Oh, yeah. Just keep the book there. Yeah. Let's say, I have a samadhi of working, placing the computer up there. And I guess you can add bowing. Right? Or Indian way. That's a really good one actually, I like that. Where the Indians, the mercenaries, they work and they sort of touch that. It's so beautiful. You can do that. And then all that. And then, be the mindfulness. You can do that. But the problem is, if this technique becomes successful, let's say 100 disciples are doing this, then in about 50 years, this will become a school, the Buddhist school of laptop school or something like that. And then this school will have a conflict with some other tradition. This is the human problem. Always is like that. Then instead of talking about mindfulness, there's no. It's not this way. It's this way. Stuff like that. There will be no debate among the disciples. This always happens. So we have to always come back to the mindfulness.
Rinpoche, any guidance based on gender? Is there specific things that men or women individually should focus on to enhance their journey, or in the spirit of non-duality, does that guidance not therefore exist?
There's no specific, especially in the Mahayana and definitely in the Tantra, no. Not in the Buddhist, as we spoke yesterday in the Vimalakirti Sutra. But in the Tantra, I think we spoke during the puja, male represents means or the method, and the female represents the wisdom. So, but the Tantra is like that. Like a left is wisdom, right is method. The female has some sort of a spaciousness and receive, like tolerance, like a wisdom, anything doesn't matter, and male is more, attributes, color, shape, so that's why the harmony between these two. Okay, so also depending on different practices, if you're thinking specifically, like Tara Tantra, Vajrayogini Tantra, Vajravarahi Tantra, then, for instance, like I practice some of these Vajrayogini Tantra, and for years, big time in the morning, usually I do it in the morning, I'm always trying to not just imagine, but really, I have to be a woman. Very important. I have to feel like a woman, act like a woman. Really, really important. And in fact, in the Vajrayogini Tantra, which is one of my main practice, the dedication is, may I always, until all sentient beings are enlightened, may I never be reborn as a male. It's like that. So totally, Tantra, you are talking about shifting everything. So, well, that's Tantra, but in the Mahayana. But as I said earlier, the human culture, Chinese, Indians, Tibetans, patriarchal society, they sort of hush these things down, they don't talk about it much, even if they talk it more in a symbolic way. Yeah. But, okay, as we speak this morning, Prajna Paramita, wisdom, emptiness. The other name for the emptiness. In Deer Park, we have on the gate some writings. That's what it is actually. Anyway, the other name for emptiness is the mother. We call emptiness the mother. So we know what we are talking about. Yum Chenmo, Yum Chenmo. Yum means mother. Chenmo means the great Maha Mother, Maha Grandmother. Because it is the wisdom, the emptiness that produces the children or the Buddhas, supposedly. So what I'm saying is, in the Mahayana and the Tantra, actually the feminine, that gender, has the highest sort of regard, so to speak. But this is also a technique to really work with the patriarchal habitual pattern.
Rinpoche,
Oh, okay. Should we? I don't know, maybe after this question.
I just have a simple practical question. Between two moments of practicing being in the present moment, as a lay practitioner and whose mind is not ever used to accepting that time is relative and it's always present-oriented, how does one inspire patience during that in-between period?
You mean, are you thinking in terms of, are you having a problem of wanting to keep it longer? Is that what you're saying?
No, one gets lost in the in-between period.
Yes.
So, how does one not get lost and be patient that, okay, it's happening, not to worry?
Yes. Now you're talking about trusting the simplicity, isn't it? Yes, that's a difficult one. That's not going to happen easily. Okay. Try to treat distractions as alarm sound, if you can. Because actually, for people like you and me, beginners, ordinary people, when we are distracted, because of the distracted, then we realize, oh, I was distracted. You know what I mean? So it's a good thing. In fact, there is even a doha. I think it's like a mediocre practitioner, not the best, but not the worst, sort of the mediocre, sort of small-time yogis. It's a beautiful doha song. It said, I can't have enough distractions. Come on, make me realize I'm distracted. You guys are not coming. Where are you? What happened to you? Today I feel blank. I feel like in coma. The distractions are not coming. Come on. Because I want to know that I'm distracted. There is something like that. It's a song. We take a break with that?
Question about sadness.
Sadness.
Yeah. Yes, earlier you said joy instead of not crying. And what about sometimes being present is really colored by the tinge of sadness?
Yeah.
Just try again. My question,
Yep.
I was just asking about sadness. Being in the present can feel sad.
Yeah. The same thing. Sadness, joy. Actually, easier to be in the present when you are sad. When you are happy, it's so difficult because you are excited. You are much more distracted. Sadness will force you to be in the present. I think bad news are much more easier to notice. Goodness, we always want more. So, anything else? Oh, okay.
Hi. I have a similar question, which is going on sadness. What is the purpose of despair, utter hopelessness? What purpose does it serve?
Purpose? I don't know. You know, the purpose is purpose. You can make it so that it has a purpose. That's what the Buddhists would say. Purpose or not is so much to do with your intention. You know, purpose of these statues, only if you use it with an intention and action, then it becomes a purposeful. It can, you know, it can be very magical if you know how to use it. I always think this, for instance, like you go to, have you been to Bali? Yeah, if you go to Bali, the whole place is magical. And you think, and this is not because there's all these, you know, like 7-star spas, not because of that. Because that you see also in places like, I don't know, Hawaii, whatever, but not that magical. It's just nice. But Bali is very magical because those Hindus, where they, you know, they practice Hindu, they do endless pujas. Everything, there's every corner. You walk about 2 minutes and there's shrine. There's some sort of offering, small offering, flowers, incense. So this motivation creates that sort of magic, I think. So despair, sadness, if you don't have the right motivation, you know, they just bother you and they just, you know, torment you and they make you feel not good. But if with the right motivation, the Buddhists will say, I think that there is a term in Buddhism, it's called genuine heart of sadness. It's supposedly very, very important, attribute or wealth of a bodhisattva, a practitioner. That actually the Buddhists would say, some sort of a sadness every day, every moment is what will make your life full, kind of. It will, you know, it will make you feel that you appreciate more. Like looking at your friend and think, knowing, awareness, this may be the last time. Yeah, it has a sadness. Because, you know, the truth, knowing the truth, goes against the ignorance, the habit. And usually the ignorance and the habits, they don't like that. So that's why it becomes a despair. You have to somehow sort of learn to appreciate the truth. I think that sort of, but of course you don't want to get carried away by sadness and despair, because then it becomes a problem. You get addicted to that. Okay, maybe one more and then we do the chant. Yeah. Oh, there's a lady right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? What in Buddhism is skillful means, and how do we keep shades of self-grasping away from skillful means?
Skillful means in Buddhism must always have or accompanied with wisdom. Only then it is a skillful means. Otherwise, it's just a ritual. It's just a game. If whatever you do, be it elegant, refined, or outrageous, primitive, comb your hair properly, or create into a moha, whatever. If that's accompanied with a wisdom, in other words, intention of taking oneself and the others closer to the truth, then that's called skillful means. That's priceless. But a skillful means is only means. Always remember this. It's not the end. Like the finger. Don't look at the finger, look at the moon. Finger is not that important. Finger is necessary. It's important. It helps you. Skillful means should not actually become a tradition. Skillful means once applied, it has done its job. It should not actually become tradition or an ongoing thing. No. But having said that, some skillful means, such as sitting straight, has been ongoing because it does help. It does have a function. I've been talking to people here saying chances of you being more mindful by sitting straight is higher than lying in a hammock with a margarita. That's possible. You can do that. But chances is better sitting straight. Skillful means. If I'm teaching in Mexico with a bunch of rowdy, bar hopping youngsters who detest the idea of sitting straight, I would say, let's all lie down on a hammock. Now let's mix some drink. Now let's think. This drink might never reach our stomach because we could die. Stuff like that. That we could do. Okay, but anyway, thank you for listening to all these things. I hope we have at least, managed to create some sort of a curiosity on truth and illusion and life and wellness and not wellness and all of that. If that happened, then that's good. Then that must have so-called merit, and this merit we will dedicate. This is the thing about Buddhists. We always have to dedicate the merit. So let us dedicate the merit to everyone, including Donald Trump. May he have. I'm going to dedicate so that he will bluff all the way. What do you think? All the way, completely. Bluff and bluff and bluff. And really bluff. Bluff at himself also. Stuff like that. That is dedicated for the world peace, harmony, your own wellness, others' wellness, so on and so forth. And the dedication, please. Everybody has the pranidhana?
दिशिलोके सर्वजयध्वगता नरसिंह तानहो वन्दमि सर्वे अशेषा कारयतु वाचमनेन प्रसन्न क्षेत्ररजोपमकाय प्रमाणे सर्वजिनान् करोमि प्रणामम् सर्वजिनाभिमुखेन मनेन सर्वस्वरागसमुद्रहृदेऽपि सर्वजिनान् गुणान् भणमान् तान् सुगतास्तव मीयहु सर्वं पुष्पवरेभिः च माल्यवरेभिः पाद्यविलेपनछत्रवरेभिः दीपवरेभिः च धूपवरेभिः पूजनतेषु जिनान् करोमि वस्त्रवरेभिः च गन्धवरेभिः चूर्णपुटेभिः च मेरुसमेभिः सर्वविशिष्टविरूहवरेभिः पूजनतेषु जिनान् करोमि या च अनुत्तरपूज उदार तानधिमुच्यति सर्वजिनान् भद्रचर्यति पूजयामि जलसर्वम् यच्च कृतं मयि पापो भवेय रागतु द्वेषतु मोहवशेन कायतु वाचमनेन तथैव तं प्रतिदेशयाम्यहु सर्वं यच्च दशदिशि पुण्यजगस्य शेक्ष अशेक्ष प्रत्येकजिनानां बुद्धसुतानथ सर्वजिनानां तं अनुमोदयाम्यहु सर्वं ये सम्मुखनित्यमहं जिनपश्ये बुद्धसुतेभिः परिवृतुनाथ तेषु च पूजकरे उदारा सर्वे अनागतकल्पमखिन्ना धारयमाणो जिनान् सधर्मं बोधिचरिं परिदीपयमान भद्रचरिं च विशोधयमान सर्वे अनागतकल्पचरेयं सर्वभवेषु च संसर्वाण पुण्यतु ज्ञानतु अक्षयप्राप्त प्राप्योपाय समाधिविमोक्ष सर्वगुणैर्भवि अक्षयकोश एकरजाग्रिरजोपमक्षेत्र तत्र च क्षेत्रीयचिन्त्य बुद्धान् बुद्धसुतान् निषण्णकुमति पश्यय बोधिचरिं चरमाण एवमशेषत सर्वदिशासु बालपथेषु त्रियध्वप्रमाण बुद्धसमुद्र क्षेत्रसमुद्र नोदनिचारिककल्पसमुद्र एकस्वरागसमुद्ररुतेभिः सर्वजिनान् स्वरागविशुद्धिं सर्वजिनान् यथाशय घोष बुद्धसरस्वती मोदनि नित्यं तेषु च अक्षयघोषरुतेषु सर्वत्रियध्वगतान् जिनान् चक्रनयं परिवर्तयमानो बुद्धिबलेन अहं सर्वं कायतु वाच मनस्य विशुद्धि चर्यविशुद्ध्यत क्षेत्रविशुद्धि